Hello and welcome to another episode of the BSN podcast. Today is Wednesday, September 28th. Hope everybody's having a good day so far and had a good rest of their day yesterday. It is in fact Wednesday, September 28th here today, coming off another big night last night. In the world of sports, we had a big night of baseball on. We're going to have a lot of these in the next upcoming days here as the New York Yankees clinched the AL East Division title last night with a 5-2 victory over the Toronto Blue Jays. And as for the New York Mets, they take a really tough loss last night against the Miami Marlins with a final score of 6-4 and a really disappointing game for the Mets. It really was. It was one of these games I talked about on my Bubs Talking Baseball podcast that I do every week on Apple and stuff. And I was talking about it on Sunday, morning, obviously, before all the, sports and stuff came on for the day and Jets game, as we all know, and all that good stuff. I was talking about it, and these games are big for the Mets, and these games are huge because you don't want to drop these games against the Marlins, go into the Braves series with the possibility of being down in division or tied in a division, and come out of that series, down or even tied again. That's the last thing you want if you're the New York Mets. You want to have the opportunity to go into that series with the chance of winning the division and putting it away. And the Mets are letting this division slip away. And I'll tell you what, the Braves right now are really beating up on the Nationals. And the Nationals are a 101-loss team. They've won 53 games this year. They're not a very good team at all. The Braves are beating up on them. They're doing what they need to do. Mets aren't. So Mets got to find a way to turn it around, or else this could get ugly real quick, and you could be looking at a possible wild card series for the New York Mets instead of getting that first round bye and waiting to play until about October 11th. The Mets might be on track to play October 7th, which would be the first wild card game of the 2022 postseason. So we'll see how it all plays out. They'll be back in action tonight. Second game of a quick 2-game set against the Marlins. Yankees will be back in action tonight. Final game of a 3-game set against the Blue Jays. Yankees will head out. We'll have a day off tomorrow. Then they'll head back home to wrap up the regular season at home. And then after that, they'll head out to Texas for 4 games in 3 days, and that will wrap up the regular season as a whole. So only, after tonight, you only got 8 games left or 7 games left if you're the Yankees after tonight. You got 3 against the Baltimore and 4 against Texas, and that's it. Then it's postseason time. So a lot to get to today on the podcast. Going to try to keep it around 30 minutes just due to timing. We're going to get into the Yankees winning the AL East, kind of talk about their success recently, just talk about their win last night, get into it all, and break down, I'll do obviously my full playoff preview and all that stuff, but, break down what this team needs to really do if they want to go deep in the postseason. And you hear Aaron Boone last night talk about, there is bigger fish to fry. You got to go on and win a World Series, and that's obviously the ultimate goal for every team at the start of every year, especially at the start of the postseason. But how do the Yankees do that? And we've seen a lot of positives over the past couple weeks, and hopefully, that all comes true. We'll get into that. We'll also get to Kenny Golladay to do a little baseball, a little football. We'll get into Kenny Golladay and his struggles. Monday night, Giants lost. Obviously, I did not do a podcast yesterday. Not going to recap the game. Just want to talk about Galladay's struggles and really get into why, yet again, this shows that Dable is holding his players accountable. He hasn't given Golladay much playing time at all. Golladay finally got some snaps on Monday night. Had a crucial drop in the fourth quarter. Could have it was a crucial drop in the fourth quarter. I mean, that's as big as it can get. And the Giants go on to lose. I'm going to get into his struggles and why. If I'm the New York Giants, I look for a trade partner right now. I look to get rid of him. You're not going to be able to just cut him because, you could cut him, but the cap hit's going to be unbelievable. Again, a poor Gettleman investment. Giants are stuck with him right now. That's the thing that really stinks. We'll also get into the New York sports update, like I said. Yankees tonight against the Blue Jays. Mets tonight against the Marlins. So a lot to look forward to tonight as we get closer and closer to week 2 of the NFL season. Zach Wilson is ready to go as long as these couple days of practices go well. He'll be back out there on Sunday, and looking forward to all that good stuff. So, all right, with all that being said, this is the BSN podcast, and let's get right into it. So, New York Yankees last night get the win. 5-2 over the Toronto Blue Jays, and they clinched the division, AL East division title for the first time since 2019. Last year, obviously, didn't win it, and obviously in 2020, the shortened 60-game season, they didn't win either, so this is nice. It's been 2 years. Yankees clinched the division, get their 95th win on the year, and out of these final 8 games now, they got to find a way to win 5 of them. They got to go 5-3 in these final 8 games to get to the 100-win mark, where I think is very possible. If you win tonight, you probably sweep the you should be able to take 2 or 3 against Baltimore, though. They're in the middle of a playoff race, too. They're not that bad. I mean, they're a solid team this year, but the Yankees should take care of business to get them and the Rangers. So we'll see if the Yankees obviously reach 100 wins. But at the beginning of the season, to kind of give you a timeline, it's been a wild ride. It's been a wild ride this year, and it's not over. It's not even close to over. You obviously have the entire postseason to look forward to, which is obviously the most exciting time of year, I think, in all sports. You have basketball, hockey starting up. You have baseball in the postseason. You have football right in the middle of it all as we hit October here in a couple days. It's been a wild year for the Yankees. It really has, and there's no other way to put it. You start this season as a Yankee fan, and you kind of just hope that you go into the year with a lot of concerns with the roster. What are you doing with the catcher? Bringing in Jose Trevino, relying on a guy like Kyle Higashioka. You wonder about the pitching staff. You wonder about the bullpen. There was questions on this roster just about everywhere. You have the Aaron Judge contract issues looming over your head to start the year, still looming over your head, but it seems like right now, we have an answer. Yankees are going to have to pay him if they're going to want to bring him back. Everybody was wondering, do you pay him then? Do you pay him now? What do you do at the end of the year? Well, we all got the answer. If the Yankees want to bring Aaron Judge back, they're going to have to give him a massive deal. And there's no other way to put it. He's stuck at 60 right now. Hopefully he can hit 61 one of these days. You just got to hope, because it's a long, long stretch, and you don't want it to get to the point where you enter that final series of the season against Texas, and he starts to struggle, and he starts to get it in his head, and you go into October struggling. That's the last thing you want. So just get the 61st home run, get it out of your system, go on with the season, and that's what we need to see. We'll see how it all plays out. He's got 8 more games left to do it, 3 more at home. We'll see what he does. It's going to be interesting. But you go into the season with the expectation of, where is this team going to finish? I mean, you go into the season, the AL East has been phenomenal this year. It's been one of the strongest, one of the strongest divisions in baseball. I mean, there's going to be 3 teams coming out of the AL East: Blue Jays, Rays, and obviously the Yankees. And even the last place team in the Red Sox, they're 72 and, 82 or 72 and 81. I can look at the standings today. They are 73 and 81. So they are 73 and 81 on the season. And they, although they're last place in the division, they are probably one of the more talented last place teams. To have a last place team in your division at 70 wins, I mean, that's pretty good if you ask me. A lot of these teams, I mean, you look at all these other divisions. You look at the West, AL West, you got the lousy A's. You look at the NL West, you got the Rockies who stink. You look at the NL East, you got the Nationals who have been a real poor team this year. You look at the Tigers that have been extremely underwhelming. The AL East has been a very strong division this year, and the Yankees have found a way. And it's been a rocky year. You start the year with, you start the year on fire. You get off to a great start. We're on pace. I'm sitting back here and remembering May and June felt like it was just yesterday. But reading off stats of how they were on pace with the '98 team, and they were even on pace with that '01 Mariners team that obviously went nowhere. And now, then they had a horrible August, and they started to struggle in July, had a horrible August. They bounced back in September, and they get the win last night. And this is big. And the Yankees have already overachieved this year, in my opinion. I did not go into this year with the expectation of the Yankees winning the World Series. I did not go into this year thinking the Yankees were going to win the division. I didn't. I thought there was a realistic chance the Yankees could barely squeak in, if not miss the postseason. Because when you looked at this roster on opening day, there was questions all over it. Now, those questions have been answered, but on opening day, what was Josh Donaldson? You bring in Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, okay. Was he really going to be this big in big spots? I mean, is that IKF? His defense hasn't been good. But let's all be honest here. I mean, his defense hasn't been good. We understand that. But he's been very good with runners in scoring position. He has stepped up. Nobody saw Jose Trevino having a career year. Nobody saw this pitching staff out of the middle of nowhere having the 3rd best ERA in all of baseball. I know the pitching still has some questions, no doubt about it. But this team Going into the year with a lot of concerns. Trevino. You wonder about IKF. You question the move with Donaldson. What is Hicks? What is Gallo? The bullpen. So many questions. Yankees have figured out ways to answer them. Trevino has been phenomenal. IKF. Put it any way you want. He's been what we all kind of expected him to be. A stopgap guy that's going to be the lead way to Volpe. You've also brought in some nice pieces at the deadline. Bader looks legit. He's been phenomenal. Nasty Nestor having a career year. All of these pieces coming together to get to the win last night. Been a wild year, but a fun one. Yankees win a division. And look, this is just the start. This is just the start for this Yankee team. Boone talks about going on to win a World Series. Now, look, it's going to take a lot to win a World Series because you're going to have to go through Houston. I don't care what people say. Houston's going to get to the ALCS. There's no other way to put it. Mark this podcast. I would love to be wrong. I want to be wrong. I want Houston to get knocked out in the ALDS and we don't have to play them. I would love to have home field advantage throughout the entire postseason going into the World Series. I would love that. I would love to not have to face Justin Verlander in Game 7 of the ALCS. I would love that. I'd rather face somebody else. But the most likely, it's going to run through Houston. You still do wonder, is this Yankee team going to be able to do it? And again, I talked about this on Sunday. I said, August was so bad with this team. It was awful. There was a point there where the Yankees almost blew the division to the Rays. There was that legit point where the Yankees almost blew the division to the Rays. They walked out of Tampa losing 2 of 3 on near Labor Day. And it was actually the day before Labor Day. They walk out there losing 2 of 3 games, only about 2 games up, or 3 games up, 2 in the loss column, or something to that effect. And they played the Twins, and they obviously won 3 out of 4 against Twins, took care of the Rays, and they got some more separation. But there was a legit scenario where if the Yankees lose 3 of 4 against Minnesota, we might not be talking about this today. Those were big series. They got the job done. And September's been a very good month. And we're starting to see what this team can be when all these pieces come together. Again, do I think this team's winning a World Series? I would love it. That's the goal. That's what we all want as fans. Do I think they're going to win a World Series? If I had my honest opinion, no. But if this team plays like they have been playing recently, it's not crazy to think that. You can't, they've been very good. They've been hitting with runners in scoring position. Last night they had 11 hits. I can't tell you the amount of time sitting there in August watching games where they had 3 hits. They had 11 hits last night. And by the way, I can't tell you the amount of times watching those games, them having 2 hits and leaving 15 runners in scoring position. And feels like they're leaving guys on bases all day long. They haven't been doing that recently. Now, I understand last night they did leave 9 on, and that is a pretty good amount, but they did drive in the runners when they needed to, especially, in the 3rd inning when they got the 2 runs, in the 6th inning when they added on 2 more. It's been in big spots as well. Much better baseball. Hitting with runners scoring position, good situational hitting the ball to the outfield, getting sacrifice flies. All those things, what the Yankees are doing early in the year, they haven't been doing recently, but now they're back to doing that. And that's the best case scenario because you want to go into the postseason on fire. You want to go into the postseason playing your best baseball. You don't want to go into the postseason struggling. That's the last thing you want. You want to go into the postseason playing your best baseball. The key to the Yankees, if they want to win the World Series, number 1, their bats have got to show up in the postseason because, believe it or not, every year we go into the postseason as Yankee fans, and our biggest concern usually is the pitching. The pitching has been phenomenal. Outside of obviously last year with the whole Garrett Cole, Boston, and that terrible outing. Outside of last year, the pitching has been really good throughout Boone's kind of tenure with the Yankees in the postseason. It has been. It's been the bats that just go silent. You get DJ LeMahieu back soon. You hope he can add a little bit more juice into the lineup, but you got to like what you're seeing out of this team right now. And it's just a start. You got to find a way to beat Houston. Got to find a way to beat some of these other teams. Mariners, you might have to go through them. They might be the first team up. They are a feisty team. They're young. They're energetic. They have a lot of young talent. Julio Rodriguez. Cole struggled against them this year. Allowed 6 runs in the 1st inning. They're a young, good team. Same thing with the Guardians. They're an annoying team. There are a couple annoying teams in the AL. We'll see how it all plays out. So Yankees get the win 5-2, clinch the AL East. A lot to be done. Got to hit, and you got to pitch. After last night, Tyone last night, who went 7 1/3, 7 hits, 2 runs, 2 earned, 6 Ks, no walks, 94 pitches, 62 strikes, an ERA now at 3.83. That drops a whole 7 points. He went into it with a 3.90, leaves with a 3.83 ERA. The pitching's a question because you wonder what they do. Do they go Tyone, Cole, Nasty, Sevy? Do they go Sevy, Nasty, Cole, and then I don't think Herman? Montez probably won't be back in time. Montez might be back. He's probably will be back for the postseason, but what I'm hearing is he's probably not going to be back for like a starter role, which stinks because you bring him in to be a starter, hasn't done well, and you're not going to probably do it in the postseason either. So it's probably going to be something like Cole, Nasty, and then probably Sevy and Tyone would be your 4 guys. Maybe they go with a 3-man rotation depending on how the games go, depending on how many days off you have in between series and all that stuff. All that stuff sometimes is on the fly. If you sweep the ALDS and Houston's got to go to 5 games, you might get a couple extra days off. You might be fresh where you only need, you could go back to your number 1 quickly. If you got just the minimum days off in between, you might have to go through to like a Tyone in the first game of the next series, or maybe you got to go to a Cole in the game 5 of the ALDS, leaving Nasty to be the starter of the ALCS. So it's all up in the air. That's how the playoffs are. It always is. I mean, that's how the regular season is. Let's be honest here. Some days guys got to pitch on short rest, postponements, injuries, all this stuff, doubleheaders. It all messes up. So we'll see. But that would probably be your 4. And I gotta admit, Tyone's very iffy. He's not very out of the 4. He's probably the least trustable. But if you told me right now, I take Tyone out there over Montez. I mean, I trust Tyone right now over Montez. I do. I'd also probably say I trust Tyone over Herman to a certain extent. I do. I don't think Herman's bad. The only issue I have with Herman is like when he's off, he's really bad. Now you could say the same thing with Tyone, but I don't know. I just get this feeling with Tyone where it's like, if you put him out there in a game and they could get some hits for him, and he can, like, when Tyone gets a rhythm, he's very good. Sometimes it's tough for him to get a rhythm, though. It is. I think Tyone, just in my opinion, I find like a bad, like Tyone, Tyone, let up, 25 home runs this year or something. The long ball hasn't destroyed him. But it's, sometimes what the Tyone is like, it's if you could go either way with Herman or Tyone. There's really nowhere I'm trying to get with this. I'm trying to think, but I just can't. Cole's the biggest question because again, it's not that you're going to move him to the bullpen. I'm not saying he's bad, but is he going to be worth the number 1 starter? Is he truly the guy you want out there in game 1 to set the tone? And is he the guy you want out there in a game 7? Or is it Nestor? Because I'll tell you what, Nestor, as much as we play around and have fun with him, he's legit ace right now. That's how he's pitching. We can mess, them pouring deep, beer down his pants last night, all that stuff. We could use, all that stuff. He's a legit pitcher. He is. Is he your guy? So it'll be interesting to see how Boone and the Yankees handle that, and it really will be. So Yankees get the win, clinch the AL East. Good vibes around this Yankee team. As a fan now, 8 games left. As a fan, you just want these 8 games to end. Get out of these 8 games healthy. They mean absolutely nothing now. You could lose all 8 of these and still end up in the playoffs and still be the champions and still be the number 2 seed. You have nothing to play for anymore. You clinch the division. You clinch the playoff spot. Just win. Go into the postseason. Just get into it healthy. Get healthy first. Obviously, LeMahieu hopefully coming back. And let's get this thing started. It's starting soon. This time next, a week from today is the final game of the regular season. So should be a lot of fun. Looking forward to it. All right, so now we're going to get into a little bit of football here. Making good timing. About 18 minutes here. Going to end, spend 10, 15 minutes or so on this topic, and then we'll close things out just due to timing today. So the Giants take the loss on Monday night, obviously by a score of 23-16. They fall to 2-1 on the season. Cowboys get the win. Surprisingly, Cowboys fall to improve to 2-1 on the year, and both those wins are with Cooper Rush last weekend against Cincinnati, and obviously on Monday night against the Giants. And it's been a really pleasant surprise what Cooper Rush has brought to the table for the Cowboys. Giants lose. By the way, my game picks this week, I went 5-11, so an awful week for me on the game picks. I am now 22-26 overall, so got to find a way this week to bounce back. Never this early in the year have I had a bad week like I did this week. So hopefully I could bounce back in week 4, but I went 5-11 overall. So the Giants lose on Monday night. And look, you get all the Giants fans panicking. You get all the Giants fans, after one loss saying, oh, this team stinks. Those, first 2 wins were all flukes. All that stuff. And look, I'm not saying that I'm going to sit here and back every negative comment up and say the Giants are the best team in football. No, they're not. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, it's only one loss, but and it's okay. The Giants are still going to make the playoffs and they're going to be a Super Bowl contender and all that stuff. No, I don't really know if the Giants are going to make the playoffs. I don't know. I mean, to be honest with you, we're 3 games in, they're 2-1. Their offense has been awful. Defense has been really good. Can they sustain it? If I had to put money on it, I'd probably say the Giants don't make the playoffs this year. Maybe they win 7-8 games, though. I kind of had them at 5-6. Maybe they win 8, and they surprise us all and are playing meaningful games in December. I don't think they'll get there, but they're at an 8-win team. So you get all these fans getting frustrated, rightfully so. And I've been very critical of Daniel Jones throughout these podcasts. You know how I feel about him. I don't feel he's the answer, all that stuff. I don't have to go down the road. If you want to hear it, there's countless videos on this channel where I've been very critical of Daniel Jones. And Monday night, listening to the Giants fans' reactions, Monday night was not Daniel Jones' fault at all. It wasn't. And again, I'm critical of Daniel Jones. If I really felt it was his fault, I would have said something. I've been very critical of Daniel Jones since the day they drafted him. I thought it was stupid. I thought it was an overdraft. I thought for a guy coming out of Duke, a non-football program, to draft a kid like that just didn't make sense to me whatsoever. And he's been awful in the first couple years of his career. No other way to put it. But Monday night was not on Daniel Jones. Monday night was on the receivers of the Giants, and more specifically, the offensive line. Daniel Jones got sacked 5 times Monday night. 5 times. 5 times he got sacked. And oh yeah, by the way, about every other play, he was running for his life. He might not have gotten sacked every other play, but he was running for his life, it seemed, just about every other play. It was embarrassing. And you start to wonder, Daniel Jones has no weapons. He doesn't. He has no weapons whatsoever. Outside of Saquon Barkley, who had 81 yards and a touchdown and played very well on Monday. Outside of Barkley, outside of him, who also caught the passes that were thrown to him. He didn't have all these drops. He didn't have all these miscommunications, all this different stupid stuff. He caught all the passes. He averaged 5.8 yards per run. He had a good game. The offensive line was awful, and the receivers were awful, specifically Kenny Golladay. Kenny Golladay, a guy who, by the way, $72 million a year. $72 million, all that great stuff. Dropping passes, a pivotal one in the fourth quarter. He had no catches, 3 targets on Monday night. 3 targets on Monday night, no catches for no yards. Finally got some playing time and did absolutely nothing. And I talked about this at the beginning of the season where last year he was a complete embarrassment. And this year, he's been a complete embarrassment as well. And the fact that he has the audacity to sit up there in front of the media, which he did last week, and say, I should be playing, I've done everything I've been asked. Are you kidding me? Golladay has been atrocious. He's been an embarrassment. I mean, it's embarrassing. It's more embarrassing, I feel like, for Dave Gettleman, the fact that he invested so much into a guy to play this badly. He's finally healthy. He's finally not hurt like he is every year. And oh yeah, he can't make any plays. Kenny Galladay's embarrassment. And without a true number 1 receiver, who knows how far the Giants are going to go. But I will tell you this. It is time to do something with Golladay. Whether that is benching him permanently, where you don't even see him out there, whether it's cutting bait with him, whether it's trying to find maybe a trade partner that think they can fix him. I mean, Kenny Golladay, it's not even like he's just not trying. He's just not trying. Maybe I'll be nice and say, the reason he's slow, maybe it is the injuries and he's just taking a wear and tear on his body. But when you watch him play, he just doesn't try. I mean, I can recall a play from preseason game Jets-Giants, which, when I was watching that, and there was a play where, I forget exactly how the play developed. It might have been, I don't know, one of the plays where he was supposed to block one of the corners on the Jets. And it was, I think it might have been, I forget exactly. Was it Michael Carter that was the corner? Was it MC2, I think? I forget. But he was supposed to block one of the corners. And he literally just stood there and let the guy run right past him, destroyed the running back, and play got blown up. Watching that, that was lazy. That was lazy. And then you see him in training camp. And we've heard this throughout training camp where he was lazy through his lat routes, like his drills. He was lazy. He was slow. And, you can only take those two so far because sometimes guys not going to put in 110% through a drill with no defenders just to protect themselves, protect their body. Maybe coaches say that too. Look, guys, go 70% here, not 100. But it's now leaking onto the playing field. He's lazy. What I see from Kenny Golladay, I see a guy that got his big payday and just like many other athletes out there said, you know what? I'm getting paid a ton. I don't care. I'm not going to try. That's what I see from Golladay. He tried very hard the first couple years of his career. He was a phenomenal receiver in Detroit, was one of Stafford's number one weapons. He got his big payday. Now he's saying, you know what? Who cares? Who cares? That's where I'm at. That's what I get from watching Kenny Golladay. Because what I see is a guy that's lazy. What I see is a guy that completely has lost all the talent that he once had. And a guy that got that big payday and just stops trying at all. I mean, he is just sad to watch. It is hard to watch him play. I'm not even a Giants fan, and I get frustrated watching him. And listening to those comments frustrated me. Because it's like, seriously? What do you mean you've done everything you're supposed to do? When you go out there on the field, you do nothing. You want more playing time? All right, go out there and prove it in the game. You get a big pass in a big moment. You get targeted. Don't drop the pass. And I got to admit, I give a lot of credit to Brian Daboll, especially when the other coach on the other side of town in the Jets, who I'm furious with Saleh. The stuff he's saying is ridiculous. Terrible. From the receipt comments to the 6 to 7 miscommunications a game, whatever he's trying to say, there's no accountability with this Jets team right now. No accountability. Veterans making stupid mistakes. I could go down that road. I'm furious with Saleh. But to get back to the point with Brian Daboll, it shows he's got control of the locker room. The players trust him. This is why the Giants are winning games, because he's putting the guys out there that have put in the work behind the scenes and that deserve the chance to play. If this was many other coaches in football right now, would still play Kenny Golladay a ton because of his payday, because of his money, because of his name, because of his track record. Daboll doesn't care. And I got to give a lot of credit to Brian Daboll. The Giants have a legit coach. They might not have the quarterback. This roster might be completely different next year, but they have their coach, and they also have their GM. Their coach holds players accountable. If you're lazy, if you're not making plays on the field, you're not going to get playing time. No matter what you say, no matter how much you cry about it in an interview, you're not going to get out there. And that's something that I love to see out of Daboll. It is. And I'll tell you what, even with the Giants losing that game on Monday, you still got to trust. Giants have their coach. Again, a lot of other questions with the roster, but bottom line is Giants have their coach. Just from what we've saw these first 3 weeks and the handling of Golladay. If this was Saleh, Golladay'd be out there every snap. He'd be out there Joyner's getting every snap. Joyner's missed like 500 tackles this year, and he's out there every snap. Golladay, dropping passes, lazy in practice, you're not going to play. No matter what the name is. So I like to see that from Daboll. Giants lose. Galladay's been terrible. Don't know how much more you'll see of him. No, it is another Gettleman mistake. I mean, geez, they just add up. They've been adding up. Really, really, really poor. All right, so now let's get to the New York sports update and finish things off. We got the Reds Pirates right now. Pirates got the win actually 4-3. Guardians, Rays, Royals, Tigers, Braves, Nationals, Mets, Marlins, Orioles, Red Sox, Brewers, Cardinals, Phillies, Cubs, White Sox, Twins, Astros, Diamondbacks, A's, Angels, Padres, Dodgers, Mariners, Rangers, and the Giants, Rockies. You got the Mets-Marlins. Mets come into the game 97-58. Marlins come into the game 64-90. You got Jesus Luzardo on the mound for the Marlins. He's 3-7 with a 3.57 ERA. And the Mets got Taijuan Walker on the mound. He's 12-5 with a 3.53 ERA. Over-under set at 7:10 Eastern on picks. Yankees, Blue Jays tonight. Yankees come into the game 95-59. Blue Jays come into the game 87-68. 7:07 Eastern, MLB Network. Yankees got Garrett Cole on the mound. He's 12-7 with a 3.49 ERA. And the Blue Jays have Mitch White on the mound. He's 1-6 with a 5.12 ERA. Over/under set at 7.5 for tonight's game. And as for fantasy baseball, I am currently winning 53-50 in one of my leagues and winning still 351 to 285 in my other leagues. So going pretty good there, and we shall see how it all plays out the rest of the way here. Going to be interesting. Going to be real interesting. See how fantasy baseball, I'm out in every league. Every league I'm done. I'm out, which is tough, but it is what it is. Well, actually, no, I take that back. I'm in the championship right now for one of my leagues. For my main league, I'm in the championship. Or for my other league, I am. The main league, I'm not in the championship. I'm in a third place match. So we'll see how it all plays out. Fantasy baseball, and then football. We'll get into that and all that stuff. All right, so tomorrow night's game between the Bengals and the Dolphins. If I don't do a podcast tomorrow, I'm taking the Bengals in that game. So just want to say that. Taking the Bengals tomorrow if I don't do a podcast. If I do, I'll just say it again that I'm taking the Bengals, but I plan on, it's kind of been with my schedule, it's been the every other day, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So if I don't squeeze one in tomorrow and don't do a podcast, my pick for the Thursday night game is the Bengals. Bengals-Dolphins Thursday night. I got the Bengals winning. So just wanted to make that clear before we get into that. So start up another week. Funny, my record stinks, but I'm 3-0. I predicted all the Thursday night games so far correct. I got the first one correct, Bills over the Rams. I predicted Chiefs over the Chargers. And I predicted the Browns over the Steelers. And I'm 3-0, but I'm 22-26 overall. And I guess that's all that matters. So we'll see how it all plays out. Should be interesting, especially after Tyreek Hill's comments of Eli Apple. He said, I owe you or something. So it'll be interesting to see how all that plays out. Yeah, that will do it. So enjoy it tonight. Enjoy the sports. You know the drill. Most likely, probably no pod tomorrow. So I'll see you back here for Football Friday. And, yeah. See how it all plays out. Should be interesting. Looking forward to another big week of football and a lot to look forward to here in the sports world. So that will do it as always. I hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.